going on? A couple more days left, 7, something like that. So we'll see how far we can get with this. But I think based on like the cover and what we've been talking about, we'll find out more about what we think is going to happen. And it is a little bit, the stakes might be raised a little bit more. I was thinking, like, how can it get worse than a school shooting? With like 10 people. Just wait, this could be a little bit worse. All right, let's make, I forgot to share. Hang on, this will take a second. I forgot to share the screen. We're on page 27 of Gasp. Yeah, there we go. Get rid of me. Let's do it. Before Sawyer heads home for the night, he and I sit together in the dark on the front step of my new house, and he tells me that he found an updated article about the carbon monoxide poisoning. He said the old couple who died were both receiving hospice care. And anybody who has ever heard of hospice care, it's like, that's like the end, right? That's the care you get before you die, unfortunately. So I don't know if it makes it any better, but these two people were on their way out anyway. So I guess it makes it a little better. And the man's sister, they were already, which means they were already dying. Yeah, it says it right there. And that man's sister is fine now, and her husband is improving and should be okay. I'm quiet for a moment. And then I say reluctantly, doesn't excuse what Tori did, but I guess that's a pretty good outcome under the circumstances. There's a chance that this even spared the old couple from a pretty miserable ending to their lives, Sawyer says. I don't know that for sure, but it's possible. And maybe it's okay to think of it that way. Maybe, I say. Is there a funeral planned? Just a private memorial service for the family. Well, I guess that's that. I draw in a deep breath of fresh spring nighttime air in my new yard, because I have a yard, and blow it out, trying to get rid of all the anger that was stored up inside me. I imagine it escaping my lungs, leaving my fingertips. And it feels like all the negative crap is finally beginning to clear out. It's like a fresh start, I say, more to myself than Sawyer. We have a nice new home. My dad is getting out of bed every day. The Prentles are back to work with the meatball truck. I no longer smell like pizza. And I'm not going to read that. Right there. That's the part we skipped. Sawyer laughs. Is that what we're calling it? Yeah. And let's not forget that there are no more visions to deal with. I smile in the darkness. Right on, I say. I squeeze his hand and he squeezes back. And for the briefest of moments, I feel like all is well in the world when my phone vibrates. All right, so that was almost sounding, and because we're reading electronically, we have no idea how far we've gone in the book. It doesn't seem like it's that far. Maybe halfway. So we've seen this in movies, right? Hopefully you've read other books. You think everything's done, and then dun, 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 something else. Well, the something else is coming. Tori, guess who it is? It's Tori. There we go. When my phone vibrates, I'm reluctant to pull it out of my pocket for fear of disturbing this new perfect universe. And when I see who's calling, I'm tempted to ignore her, but I don't. Maybe it's because the old people were already dying, and maybe it's because I'm feeling fresh and full of love, and maybe because I know deep down I've been too hard on her. This time, I decide to answer. Hi, Tori, I say. I'm so sorry, she says. She's crying. I know, I get it. It's in the past. No, she says. Let me explain. I sigh. She needs to say things. She needs to help herself heal. I can handle that. Go ahead. For the second time in a month, 3 little words change everything. Jules, she says, her voice faltering. It's happening again. Chapter 24. My mind doesn't compute what Tori is saying. Hold on, I say. I'm putting you on speaker so Sawyer can listen too, okay? Okay. Sawyer's face is a question. I press the button. Go ahead. Start from where you said it's happening again. Well, it is. And I'm so sorry. I know you're sorry, I say impatiently. What do you mean? Are you seeing the vision again? How is that possible? It's not the same one, she says. It's a new one now, totally different. What? Sawyer covers his face with his hands and shakes his head slowly, swearing under his breath. Wait, how are you suddenly allowed to talk to me now? I demand. What about your mother? She's right here. She's the one who made me call you. I knew you'd be mad, and she says sorry too. She wants me to tell you that. I roll my eyes to Jesus in the sky. Sure. Of course, you're both sorry now. A little late for that. I know, she says. Just please, you have to help us. I promise we'll do everything right this time. I mean it. My mom says she won't interfere. I stand up and start pacing along the sidewalk. What am I supposed to do here? Say no? I can't. I'm ethically bound, personally responsible. I close my eyes and rub my left temple, where a sudden headache has sprung up. Jules, I'm still here, I say. I'm just processing. Sorry. She needs to stop saying that now. I take a breath and blow it out, and then sink back to my spot on the step. Okay, when did it start? Saturday, I guess. Is that why you sent me the apology text message? My blood starts to boil. No, I sent that text on Friday. I swear. I feel terrible about the people dying. I wish I could go back in time and fix it. I mean it. Sawyer pats my knee. Let it go, DeMarco, he whispers. I shoot him a look, but I know he's right. A whoosh of air from my lungs, or with a whoosh of air from my lungs, I let it go. All right, tell me what's happening. Sawyer's going to take notes on his phone, so please try to be very specific about everything. I glance at Sawyer, who quickly gets his phone out. Let's hear it. Okay, she says, and I hear her mom saying something encouraging in the background. There's a ship. A ship? Both Sawyer and I exclaim. We look at each other in alarm. Wait, where? In Chicago? Top of 24 here. I don't know. It's in the water. It looks like an ocean. The ocean? Sawyer and I exclaim again. We need to stop doing that. I mean, I don't know. There are huge waves and rocks, and the ship is sinking. This time, Sawyer and I are silent. Are there people on board? I ask after a pause. Of course there are, dumb blank. Yes, lots of people. They're jumping and sliding and falling off. She chokes on a sob. Some are hurt. A bunch of them are going to drown. We're silent. The looks on their faces, Tori says in a near whisper, the panic and fear. Sawyer springs to life after the initial shock and starts typing everything into his phone. I wait for him to catch up, and I try to pull my thoughts together. How big is the ship? I ask, my voice more gentle now. I know how horrible it is to see death over and over. I don't know, pretty big. Not like a giant freighter or cruise ship or anything, but yeah, kind of big. What color is it? White and some blue? How many people do you see? She's quiet for a long moment, but I think she might be counting. 20 or 30, she says. It's hard to count them because the scene goes by so fast. Sawyer mutters an expletive, so he's swearing again. And do they all drown? I think so. Dear God, I say. I slump against a step and stare blindly at the phone. I can't comprehend. How are we supposed to save that many people, Tori? I say after a minute. I'm going to have to call you back once I come up with a list of questions for you, okay? Yeah. You okay? I know this is horrible. All my anger towards her and her mother is now evaporated. I'm okay, she says, but I hear her crying. Tori, if you help us, it's going to be okay. Why are you crying? It takes her a minute, and then she says through sobs, I don't want this to be my fault too. 25. We hang up. I hear a noise behind me, and for a second, I panic. What if my parents heard everything? How would I explain this? But when I turn to look, it's Trey. Rowan's there too, behind him. You gave me a heart attack, I say. How long have you been standing there? The bedroom window open. I could hear you guys talking, Rowan says. So I got Trey and we came out. We heard almost the whole thing, Trey says, his voice grim. He glances over his shoulder at the house and says, let's take a walk. I'm pulling Ben in on this over the phone, if that's okay. Yeah, definitely, I say. We head across the street to the elementary school and walk the sidewalks around the property while Trey updates Ben, and then he keeps him on the line to listen to our conversation. Sawyer begins by recapping the notes he took. White and blue ship, ocean, high waves, rocks, 20 or 30 people, some injured, in the water, all going to drown. He stumbles, sucks in a breath. Jeez, he mutters, shoving his phone into his pocket. You okay? I ask. Yeah, just blinded for a minute by the phone's backlight, sorry. I frown because his breathing is a little too heavy and his hand is a little too clammy in mine for that to be the problem. I push it aside. We need to figure this out. For a second, I thought that might have been Trey talking, but I don't think it was. Remember that's Trey's like biggest fear. Okay. All right. Okay. Trey says, I'm really not excited about this at all. So let's start with this ocean bit. I'm telling you guys right now, we're not going to any freaking ocean. If this thing isn't local, it's out of our hands. That's my decision. I'm the oldest, and I can like vote and crap. And I'm telling you that this is the way it's going to be. He sounds like he thinks we're going to argue. No, you're right, I say. I'm on board with that. Ooh, I cringe at the unintended pun. Anybody want to challenge Trey and his self-appointed authority? Nobody? Okay. I look at Trey. Hey, I think you just defined us as being strictly local superheroes. Kind of like Spider-Man, right? Not really, actually. Spider-Man has, I think, been out into space, but at one time, he was just a neighborhood kind of guy. There's only so much a superhero with no actual powers can do, Rowan says matter-of-factly. Ooh, and I think of Hawkeye. Or I think of Batman, actually, too. Yeah, neither one of them have powers. And we're a picky, demanding bunch, Sawyer adds, apparently feeling better now. We put our foot down whenever we decide a tragedy is on the wrong side of the local boundary line. Feet. I say, our foot? Like we all have one big collective foot? I shake my head. I don't think so. Okay. She says a word I'm not going to say there, but thank you, grammar, blank. Rowan mutters. Yeah, nobody wants to be corrected on their grammar, right? I mean, I'm an English teacher. In your essays, I might have corrected some grammar there, but like in everyday conversations, nobody wants to be corrected on their grammar, right? Nobody. You will lose a lot of friends if you start doing that. I don't think anybody does that, but just in case. Rowan, yeah, I don't blame her. She's mad at Jules for saying feet instead of foot. Yeah. All right, but we do get another list, which I really like. Okay. I also have feet, not foot. Ben contributes through the phone. Okay. I think Lisa McMahon's trying to make a joke again, but it's not funny. Sometimes this is just how we do our best thinking. Okay. We come up with a list of questions and call Tori back. Her phone rings and rings, and finally someone answers. Tori's mother. I got a sick feeling in my stomach, like I'm about to be yelled at. But all she says is that Tori's asleep, and can we maybe text the questions instead? I agree. She actually thanks me. We hang up. I start typing. 5 things to ask Tori. Are the rocks in the middle of the water or part of a shoreline or what? All right. Good question there. That'll give them some idea if they have to be like in the middle of this ocean and going down with the ship. 2, do you see any land? 3, are there any markings on the ship's name? Numbers, logos, designs? 4, what's the weather like? 5, time of day? Sun position. I look up and show everybody. It's enough to start with, Sawyer says. We don't want to overwhelm her. His uneasy look is back, and I wonder if he's changing his mind about this. All right, so that's something that we are going to have to keep an eye on. Remember, Sawyer has never been the most, he's always kind of like, not our call. This is none of our business. We don't have to go to the funeral, stuff like that. So Sawyer's probably acting a little bit like I would, because it's tough. I wouldn't want to get shot. I wouldn't want to go down with a ship or something like that. All right, so we will continue that tomorrow. All right, poetry now.